Yes, sir.
September 5th, 1924.
1924. Man. So what was life like before the war?
Well, I grew up during the Depression, the Big Depression they call it,
Yes, sir.
before the war started. And we didn't have no electricity, no running water.
Hmm.
We had to draw water out of a well. And my dad would plant a big garden. He'd plant cotton and corn, sweet potatoes, and he'd work in the rice field with his brother. His brother would give him a little piece of rice, so we'd have rice to bring to the mill to get it milled, so we'd have rice to eat.
Yeah.
And then the war broke out. My older brother Elliot, he enlisted right away, and I got deferred for 1 year to help my dad work on the farm to finish with the farm, you know, that year.
Yeah.
And then I went in. I went into San Diego where I got my training. I come back for Christmas, and when I went back, I went aboard ship. It's an oil tanker.
So you were in the Navy?
So we trained on there, and then when we got ready to take off to go overseas, we got out of California about 200 miles, and we hit a storm. And we had a gun on the front end of the ship, and the waves was big, you know, and dive into it.
Yeah.
And the cover come off of it. So the captain sent 3 men up there to put the cover back on, but by the time they got there and dove into a water wave, washed them down the deck.
Oh.
That one went overboard. We couldn't get him back, and we had to turn and come back to the States to bring them 2 other fellas that come down the deck, you know, got broken bones and stuff.
Huh.
And we had to clean the ship. We had the oil drums on it that broke, you know, loose. So we got it cleaned, then we took off again. It took us 32 days before we got to the first island.
Mm-hmm.
And they called it Caledonia Island. It was a French island.
Oh.
And then from there, we started delivering oil and gas from one island to the rest, and all over, you know. And we never did encounter any Japanese, us.
Oh, really?
We had an escort every time we moved, but we never did encounter any Japanese. Anywhere we went, we were lucky. And we delivered that oil and gas, and one gas was for airplane, one for cars, and diesel for ships. And we had to take all that from the Merchant Marines. They wasn't allowed to come in a war zone because they didn't have no guns aboard their ship.
Hmm.
And we had guns aboard our ship. And we delivered that till the war ended. I was in Guadalcanal, Okinawa when the war ended. And then from there, we went to China, spending 3 or 4 months. Then from there, the boys aboard ship started leaving, you know, coming home. You could come back, time for you to get discharged. So they asked me and another boy if we could stay 6 months longer, because it was getting short-handed. So we decided, yeah, we'll stay. But then when it got close, I told that other boy, I said, no, I ain't staying. He said, I'm gone. Well, I said, if you go, I'll go too. And I come back, and we was 5 brothers in the service.
Wow.
and 3 of us in the South Pacific. And me and Elliot watched for each other's ship. So we anchored in a harbor around an island, and I had sore throat. I was in my room, and there's a boy come running to my room. He said, "Fondo, your brother's out here." He said, "Their ship's in, and he wants to come aboard." Well, I said, "Let him come aboard." So he come aboard and visited with me on my ship for about 2 hours. Then he had to get back.
Oh.
And it's unusual, you know. You don't meet your kin hardly.
Yeah.
And especially that close kin. And but as far as anything serious, you know, we never did have anything real serious. We had serious times, you know, but we always had an escort with us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's encounter a submarine, he dropped depth charges, you know.
Oh.
So at one time, he dropped a lot of depth charges. He stayed behind us, but we never did find out if he had contacted a submarine or not. But most probably he collected something, you know.
Mm.
And but we traveled a lot aboard that ship, you know, delivered that oil and stuff. And at one time it was 50 ships in a convoy.
Cool.
Yeah. And
50?
50 ships.
Wow.
Was in a convoy. It was going to a different place. And
Mm.